Welcome back. This is Billy with Coach Dooley's List. And once again, if you are enjoying these videos, please like and subscribe to the YouTube page. I am today here at Talley Street Upper Elementary School in Decatur, Georgia, with a former, well, still a friend, but former mentor of mine and also a coach from the softball world, Kelly Murdock Nichols. And Coach, thank you so much for letting me come and visit with you
I'm
today.
so happy to be here and to see your face. Awesome.
I love it. No, you were always so good to me, and everybody goes, well, what are we going to talk about? And again, the big thing with this is just the coach's advice for younger coaches that can help them out. So I always start by just kind of asking, what was your coaching journey like that led you in, and then even how you ended up here at the elementary school as the AP.
How much time you got? It's a long story, man.
Until they call you out.
I'm getting old. I'm getting old. Oh man, I think I knew in high school that I wanted to coach. I was playing competitive softball and doing clinics and lessons and stuff on the side even then. Went through college and got super lucky by knowing Bobby Simpson, who worked with Higher Ground Softball. He was a mentor of mine, still is, and he connected me with Shannon Mitchum at the time, who is now Shannon Lovelady. She was coaching at South Gwinnett High School. So I was 22 years old, and I said, Sure, I'll come coach your JV team. So the kids were just a few years younger than I was at the time, but she was such a gift in my life. Like, she was a baseball-minded softball coach, and that I'd not ever been around that, and that was super helpful for me. We kind of grew up together those few years. Frank Turner was coaching with us as well. Frank the Tank, who is still, I just have the best memories and stories with that guy. He's phenomenal. But young Kelly was learning the ropes at that age. And then when Mill Creek opened, I was lucky enough to be hired to be the head coach there to start the program. I didn't know what I was doing. There was no field. There was no nothing. I mean, it was like, hey, do you want the job? I was 25. Sure, I'll take it. Don't know really what I'm going to do. We were at Bogan Park while I was trying to build a field, and we were practicing in the summer, and then we had our first game, before we had anything really completed. So I coached at Mill Creek for 6 years, and it was some of the best years of my life. Phenomenal people, kids. I grew up in that environment, honestly, and still keep in touch with a lot of my former players that just fills me up. When I had my first child in 2009, I was actually pregnant with her, coaching summer league at Collins Hill with you. And one of my Billy Dooley memories is, you probably don't remember this, but it was June. She was due at the end of June, so I was not comfortable. It was hot. I was trying to coach the summer league team, and I showed up to Collins Hill, and you had a bucket and a fan in the dugout for me. Right there, a fan was facing on me. You probably don't remember, but it meant a lot. I remember that. But anyway, after she was born, I had this idea that I was going to keep rolling in the way I was going. Maybe I had some aspirations, maybe to coach collegiately. I really wasn't sure, but they put that baby in my arms, and it was like, oh, this is different. This is shocking. And I really had an epiphany that I could not be the coach that I really wanted to be and the parent that I really wanted to be at the same time. So there was some conflicting stuff happening, and I just couldn't sacrifice those early years with my kids. So I stepped back, went part-time teaching, raised my babies, and that's kind of led me. Every professional decision I have made since I had my first has been about what's best for my kids. And that's kind of where, how I ended up here. So I got my leadership certification. I'm in the school district where they go to school. So I have been in their schools. I coach my youngest in rec softball now, which is a lot different, but it's also very wonderful in its own right. And so I'm an assistant principal now at an upper elementary school in Decatur.
Well, I love, especially what you said about, once you get that kid in your hands, in your arms, and your children,
yeah.
And, it changes things. Because I remember, when I stepped down when my oldest was born, and that was my same thing, is like, I had a certain standard that I needed to live up to as a coach.
Yeah.
But then you also realize, like, you have that standard set, and then you get home, and then you've got other ones that are, have those expectations and the time, and people do it, and shout out to the coaches and kids that make it work. And I know a lot of coaches, there's kids grow up in the field, and mine did too. And but it definitely changes things. And but going back to your coaching, one of the things too, I always remember about your teams, and we kind of did this a little bit later on in my career. Was Mill Creek, they would show up. We were big rivals, and your girls would always hit the outfield with those notebooks, and they would get out there, and this as young ones, and some girls get talking, and it was like, what are they doing, out there, and that kind of stuff. And I'll never forget too, because I texted you when we kind of got back in touch with each other when Morgan Bullock was speaking at a clinic.
Yep.
And she talked about those notebooks, and she talked about, like, just the gratitude and all the setting your goals and that kind of stuff, which is something I really didn't. We always did goals, but I never did that till later. So kind of going into that, I know you had a plan for your program. So what was it you wanted your programs to be known for, or what did you want to instill in your girls with doing those things and everything else?
That's a really good question. So those notebooks, those held all the important information, but probably nothing more important than what we called the goals and grats. So the goals and the gratitudes that we had. And it was like a way of us to focus on what was really most important. I think looking back, and I feel pretty confident saying, even when I was in the moment, like, it really mattered to me that my kids learned the life lessons. We were successful. We won a lot of games. We had great time. Kids grew, but most important of all of it was that they felt connected to something that was bigger than themselves. So we were at a school that had almost 4,000 students when I started. It was huge. So I had this group of kids that was connected to something that made them feel special and unique. And within that, there were high expectations. I mean, they will still reach out and say, they're scared to wear something untucked because they had to have their jersey tucked in. And that was just a non-negotiable, because I felt like if you represent our program, you're representing your family and yourself. You need to put your best foot forward always. So this age, Kelly, has softened some. Children help that as well. I definitely, they changed that. So, maybe a blanket apology to some of the kids that played for me that had to, that knew me as, like, you will toe the line. This is how it's going to be. I don't have any regrets about it, because definitely I think there were life lessons learned. And I think kids took away, hopefully, some of the really important stuff about just being a good human and doing the right thing. But those goals and grats, like, coaching girls it's a challenge in a lot of ways. I had a coach tell me a long time ago, and I don't get really into, like, gender stereotypes at all. However, he told me a long time ago, he said, Kelly, boys have to play good to feel good, and girls have to feel good to play good. And that grammar's terrible, but it's the way it came across. And I remember thinking, that is so true. If my girls are coming out here and they're feeling any certain way about themselves, it's going to show up in all the wrong ways on the ball field. So we've got to figure out how to control the mental part of it. And I think a big part of it for me was through college specifically. I had a really rough time and learned a lot of things that I didn't want to do as a coach from this situation that I was in college. So at least for my first few years. And I took that into my coaching. Like, we are going to talk about the mental health aspect. The year that we won the state championship, we did a book study that Frank Turner brought to the table. And it was, about the mind of baseball and how to control the mental aspect. Because we had the talent. There was no doubt about it. But could we get over the hump? And in doing that, to be able to do that, it was going to be about controlling the controllables. So all of that was just an effort to, help grow kids into the young people we want them to be, and just keep in mind that mental health and confidence and all that stuff really matters.
Oh yeah, and I think that's such a huge part. It always has been, but there is such a focus now on those kind of things, and there needs to be with boys and girls, because they put a lot of time into it. When you put all that time, I mean, like I said, other areas struggle sometimes, and sometimes it's between your ears. But going back, thinking about, and this doesn't necessarily have to be from Mill Creek, could be South, could be coaching rec softball now. Yeah. But if you think back over your time coaching, what's one of your favorite coaching stories or memories that kind of comes to mind?
Oh man, there are a lot.
We got is until they call you.
I have so many phenomenal memories. I know I mentioned Frank a few times, and Shannon. The three of us had some times together. One time Frank was trying to imitate Tommy Lasorda getting thrown out of a baseball game. We used to we would imitate batting positions and swings and try to guess, like, which major leaguer are you right now? But he was imitating Tommy getting thrown out and how he took a tumble down the mound. And I mean, he did the whole thing. He did the tuck and roll and the flip forward, and he cracked his collarbone in the in the meantime. I mean, it was just, it's not a good memory, but it's a very funny memory if you knew how we were during that time. But thinking about the assistant coaches that I had, the people I was surrounded by, Jennifer Maloney and Emily Webb, Holsey now. I mean, these people filled my bucket every single day. So my best memories are wrapped up in the other adults, I think, that made the job so much fun, that were like on the front lines with me. Some of my memories are obviously winning region championships and state championship. Those kinds of things are phenomenal, and I can still remember the moments. I can remember what it felt like and who was there. But like for me, when I really think back to that time, the side conversations with my girls, the one-on-ones, the learning opportunities, the little things that happen at practice. I mean, we did a pre-practice every single day. Kids knew our pre-practice was a quick review of fundamentals. Every single day, the expectation is you come out, you're going to do 5 short hops, 5 backhands, 5 pop-ups in the sun, and a couple other things. And because if you don't do the little things right, you're not going to do the big things right. And so just the emphasis on showing up at your best, even when you're exhausted or tired or have tons of homework, like those memories, and watching those kids start buying into that and seeing the growth through that focus on the little things. And these kids they were just like, I had the best kids, just absolutely phenomenal student athletes who showed up every day and bought into the system. So maybe not a specific memory, but just as a whole, felt really, really lucky to be part of something as special as it was.
Oh yeah, and always memories are not, winning state's great, winning region stuff, but those, like we tell our kids, that's not always what you're going to remember. It's right. The little things on the bus and that kind of stuff. Yep. And throwing out the Frank memories, and you brought up Maloney. Did you ever see the picture when he had to wear Maloney's shirt because he wasn't matching the third base coach?
I missed that. I'm going to need to see that.
We'll have to get that and put it out for everybody.
Oh, please. It's coming.
Maloney, it's coming.
Good.
And so, you're talking about your kids and making them into good adults and things. And if one of those kids came to you, former player, could be anybody, and said, Coach, I want to become a head coach one day, what advice would you give them?
Oh, that's a really good question. I think, first of all, I go back to the little things. First of all, I would really push them to ensure they're doing the little things right. Are you doing the next right thing, whatever that is? Are you taking the opportunities that are presented? Are you putting yourself out there? Are you contacting folks and saying, this is what I want to do? Are you being brave with your life in such a way that people can't refuse you? Like, so first of all, it's like a mindset. And I think that's the first thing I would do. And then I would tell them, you're going to have to work your butt off. Like, it's a thankless job. You're going to get paid pennies on the dollar, but that's not what it's about. Right. So if you don't have the mentality of, I'm going to get after this no matter what, then it's not for you, full stop. But I think nowadays it's different than when I was coming up. I mean, when I was 24, 25 years old, it was like I knew some people, they knew some people, we had some connections. I moved up into Mill Creek and it was great. Social media was not a thing. None of these, LinkedIn, there was none of that stuff. Like it was like your reputation. You built your reputation by being around other people who were in the environment. Now, I think there are so many things I'm probably unaware of that people do to work connections and to get into places. But I still think I would tell anybody who wants to be a head coach, you have to treat people right. You have to do the right thing. You have to make good impressions. If you're not doing that, people aren't going to put their neck out for you. Right. And don't be scared to pay your dues. Do not be that person who already knows all the things. I was so lucky to get a coaching job at such a young age with somebody like Shannon Lovelady, who I learned so much from. I couldn't have stepped right into a head coaching job. And then when I was so young and did get that job, I was leaning on other people. I mean, even you used to call me your mentor, which I don't like. I learned from you as well through this process, and all the other guys and gals we were coaching with. Like, build a network of people, lean on them, ask the questions, don't reinvent the wheel, and be humble because you don't know it all. Newsflash, I still don't. You don't know it all.
No, and you say, and that's always my biggest thing is, and sometimes it's difficult to ask for help. Because you, like I said, you get hired for a job, you think, well, they think I know everything and that kind of stuff. So that makes it hard sometimes. But being able to do that, I think, is one of the biggest pieces of advice I always hear from coaches. I would also say too. So I didn't preface that I was going to ask you this, but being an admin, I've talked with a lot of coaches go into administration, become principals, and those kind of things. What from your coaching career do you think helped you get into the admin role, or what are some things that led you there?
Oh, it's such a logical step, I think. We in Decatur, we talk about crew and culture. So crew is really important to me, and that's just basically the idea of kids in our building also feeling connected beyond themselves. So we have systems in place that support them in ways so that they're not just knowing their classroom teacher, for example. Like, I am constantly trying to help kids build relationships with adults and other kids in the building and learn life lessons like problem solving and all the things that are very similar to coaching. I also believe, like, coaches have so much on their plate. Not only are they coaches, they're also teachers, which is a huge job. There's so much.
Pays the bills.
That's technically what pays the bills, but it's getting harder every year. They're expected to do more and more with less and less. So as an administrator, I am always looking for ways to remove obstacles. How can I support teachers so that they can go out and do the work? And that's the same as coaching. How can I support these athletes? What can I teach them and take from them so that they can go out and do the work that they're here to do? So it's a support role. It's a mentor role. It's a problem solving constantly. I feel like we put out fires a lot as administrators, but never forgetting that we're all human beings in this building, and we all come to the table with different strengths and different weaknesses and abilities and communication styles. And it's the same as with a team. Like, when I look at our staff, the adults in this building, and I'm technically an administrator or someone that's over them, I try really hard to be more of a facilitator than someone that's coming down on top of them. Right. Someone that is encouraging them, lifting them, supporting them, making them feel like they could run through that wall if that's what they want to do. And I bring that from coaching, because that's the way I talk to my kids. Like, You got this. Let's go. What do you need? Because when you take care of your teachers, they take care of the students. And that's the ultimate goal. And when you take care of your players, they take care of business on the field. And that's the ultimate goal. So I think there are so many reasons that coaches move into this. It's a seamless transition, really, into leadership in some way.
Right. Well, I won't get into the vendor questions with you with all that. I know.
Well, wait, I can shout out Ryan Coulter. You told me about. I know that vending is like a big deal, and it is. I remember coaching how huge it was, like trying to figure out all the pieces of that you don't think about. Like, I can hit the ground balls. I understand strategies. I can teach a kid how to bunt, all that. But I got to order uniforms. I got to get lime for the field. I got to that was the stuff I really had to learn. And I don't know where Ryan is today, but Ryan Coulter was a gift back in the day. And
we'll be BSN now. Like, just like anything, he kept moving up, and he's rocking it there too.
I'm sure he's totally rocking it. Such a great person to work with. But yeah, find your people. I mean, find your people that take care of you and that respond to you and communicate with you, because you got to have it.
For sure. Well, listen, I know you're about to have them. They're starting up out there. But,
yeah, I got some babies who need me.
Yes, and I do appreciate it. I appreciate you. I know, like you said, we're colleagues, but also mentors to each other and helping out. And I would not have been where I was as a coach without your help and many others. And thank you so much for
you're
coming
welcome, my friend.
And let me meet with you today.
You're welcome, my friend. Glad to see you, buddy.